Hello and welcome. My name is Chris Eckel and I'm CTO at Condatis. Condatis is an identity integration house and we worked with NHS over the last year to deliver and test technologies supporting a test implementation of a digital staff passport system that was very well timed for the challenges we all faced in the last year. The project was a collaboration between NHSX and NHS E&I within NHS England, as well as being supported by NHS Blackpool Teaching Hospitals as the host organisation. Technology partners were Scikit, our sister company that's responsible for our services in the healthcare space. True, an organisation focusing on bringing digital identity wallets to a healthcare system, and underlying technology partners we were working with were Evenim and the Verity product running on the Hyperledger stack. And we also worked with Microsoft, who were just in the process of getting going with their private preview on their verifiable credentials product that's based on Azure Active Directory. Now, the challenge that the NHS put to its organizations in their people plan that was published in 2019 was that they should streamline processes and reduce duplication. And that all with a particular focus on the continuous development and training that health professionals need to do during their career. The mandate was to enable easy transfer of existing attributes of employment history, qualifications, endorsement, vettings, training to new employers and putting these attributes into a passport that health professionals could own themselves. The situation the NHS is finding itself in isn't easy. NHS staff move around a lot and each time have to repeat form filling, employment checks, and mandatory trainings. This leads to slow onboarding, high use of agency workers, frustration for staff, and high level of administration. For example, staff that are temporarily employed to another NHS organization, like we saw especially last year, staff working for one NHS organization moving to another, which happens all the time when doctors are in training. Bank workers having to register with each NHS organization or choose to sign up with one of the agencies. It regularly takes up to 7 days for new onboarded staff members to gain access to all the systems they need on a daily basis. This means, in the meantime, other staff members need to shoulder this additional workload, as well as the records not showing the real and correct author. Now, the Digital Staff Passport project looked at fulfilling this set mandate and testing the new technology available. It was looking at the challenges to issue these passports and how and what integration points between HR system and the issuing system need to be there to speed up the issuing. The project was also testing how such passports could be used to log into clinical and workforce systems like bank systems. It was also evaluating how staff react to the introduction of the passports and how it helps the induction process of a healthcare professional in a new organization. So let me shortly explain decentralized identity and how it helps to transfer attributes about healthcare professionals from the organization attesting these to, for example, a new employer. In decentralized identity, the organization that are testing attributes about the user we call an issuer, and the organization needing to verify attributes about the user, they're called verifiers. An issuer issues these attributes in a data format, and we call that new data standard verifiable credentials. and that's a W3C standard. The healthcare professionals or holders can hold these verifiable credentials, attributes, in that format in a digital identity wallet that's on a mobile device, on their mobile device, and it's usually protected by the device's biometric security, so fingerprint, iris, face ID. When a verifier needs attributes about this new onboarded health professional, it will display a request to the healthcare professional, usually in form of a QR code, and the healthcare professional decides to share attributes with this new organization. Scan the attributes, release the data, share the data. Both exchanges, from the issuer to the holder and from the holder to the verifier, are secured by digital signatures that make verifiable credentials tamper-proof. Now, why is it so apt in the healthcare system? Well, the life of a healthcare professional and their digital footprint is very complex. It really starts with their training in a medical school and a degree being awarded to them. They also need to be a member of a professional body, and they then have the relevant license to practice that they issue. They need to also prove current or previous employment status to gain access to relevant systems or services during their daily work life. And if you're working in the healthcare sector, you also need to undergo disclosure and barring service checks, DBS, and right to work checks, so vetting processes that need to be recorded. Moreover, a healthcare professional has a program of continuous professional development, and all of these trainings and development awards make up their digital life footprint that they need to prove. And in the future, as more and more of newly employed staff members might need remote onboarding, these attributes also need to be bound to an assured digital identity that binds the presenting wallet holder to a real-life person and fulfills all the evidencing of a digital identity. So, what are the benefits we have been seeing? First of all, it's really important to base such a system on standard architecture and industry standards. With the NHS having 400 organizations, it would be really inconceivable to link all of these together. Hence, decentralizing technology, that doesn't just solve the infrastructure problem. The other problem it's solving is that usually when organizations share data about users with each other, they need to have so-called data sharing agreements in place. So again, a data sharing agreement between 400 organizations is a complex thing to negotiate. The digital staff passport holds the user's data with the user. So it's the subject, it's the data subject themselves that release the data. The holder, and that circumnavigates this requirement of data sharing agreement. The holder gives consent to the data sharing. Digital identity wallets and a digital staff passport provide cryptographically assured way of storing the information that previously the healthcare professional had to gather manually in paper form or get up to date issued by their training providers or employers. And it's also their own data, so carrying it on their own mobile device is very appropriate. And it's bound far more to the person than the badges or devices that are issued by different and changing employers, so it's their own mobile device. The implementation of the digital staff passport system was based in Microsoft Azure, and each issuing organization has its own issuing and verification portal in Azure and their own instance of that. And it was built using architectural infrastructure stamp that allowed rapid rollout to now 86 organizations by now. Authentication to the issuing and verification portals was reusing existing NHS login mechanisms, and we also tested authentication using the decentralized identity wallets as an login mechanism to some of the verification portals. While the main effort was focusing on the event response using Evenym and TrueStack, the NHS also wanted to show a similar approach working with the Microsoft Ion verifiable credential stack. To this, we ran a test in the north of England between two organizations using the new Microsoft verifiable credentials solution on Azure Active Directory. And we tested issuing these same credentials to Microsoft Authenticator app that's now also able to store this underlying data model in identity data cards. And they could then use the Microsoft Authenticator app to go to a second organization and assert this data attributes about themselves to the new employer. Whilst this was really, really simple, one of the main learnings is that healthcare professionals need to understand these new digital identity cards and methods of obtaining and sharing these. Even though the method is really simple by scanning a QR code with a digital wallet, it's interesting to see how users confuse payment wallets, identity wallets, and are confused there. With the launch of more and more wallets, this is only getting worse. We have the IATA travel pass, the post office has started an easy ID, the EU has just announced an identity wallet. So this is really confusing marketplace, and for the user who just see a QR code need to understand the relevant identity association with that code. It's like knowing what wallet I put a credit card in and hunting for the right wallet, for the right credit card to fulfill the right payment transaction at the checkout. So the NHS has done this trial also to push suppliers to work on interoperability between different wallets. Now, we know it's not necessarily possible in all cases, as some of the tech stacks are so different in how the key exchange model works or how the transport model works. But in my mind, it should be the user's choice to determine what wallet they want to use to store the data they own in. So one of the calls to the tech community by the NHS is a call to work on specifications for this interoperability. And we at Condatis are very involved in that. There's a strong consensus within some of the camps that interoperability is desirable. And for example, in Hyperledger, they're actively working on an interoperability profile between many different Hyperledger-based wallets and stacks. However, interoperability between diverse tech stacks like Hyperledger and SIOP, the underlying protocol that Microsoft's verifiable credential uses, is a lot further away, and in the meantime, Condatis is supporting early adopters with a gateway product that supports a stack handover or handoff based on the wallets the user is presenting. The NHS has started their procurement drive for the long-term implementation and strategic implementation of the tested digital staff passport. And the learnings highlighted today are all reflected in this strategic aim. Thank you for your attention, and I hope I was able to give some of the insights into the NHS Digital Staff Passport project that's now running for more than a year. If you have any further questions, please don't hesitate to contact me. Please also contact me if you're interested in our gateway technology or how Condatis can help your organization prove this new decentralized or self-sovereign identity technology. We are using our software with a number of organizations and are helping them to take advantage of the new concepts without being locked into just one vendor and being able to utilize many different decentralized identity stacks. If you're interested in some of the underlying technology, Condatis has also a number of explainer videos on YouTube. Just search for the Condatis channel on YouTube to gain access. Again, thank you, and I hope to speak to you all soon. Goodbye.